All of us have heard about the boiled frog syndrome. The frog in the bowl can easily escape to freedom, but it instead tries to increase its body temperature to the steaming water and boils down to death. If you have heard of this, I'm sure you would have also heard of the flea in the jar syndrome. When the fleas are kept in a jar with the lid closed, they try to jump, but when their head touches the lid, they think that this is the limit and they stop jumping even when the lid opens. Many of us live like the frogs and the fleas and confine ourselves to our fate or destiny and resign to the so called perceived reality. Think for a moment we have a thermal imaging like device that can peep into our mind and give our mental temperature. In today's situation, we apply it to two individuals. The first image shows a brooding, scared, whining, helpless, and pessimistic persona. The second image shows a cheerful, shaken but not scared, positive, and optimistic persona. Where is the difference? There is this powerful concept called locus of control. Locus of control is the degree to which we believe that our life is controlled and shaped by external forces or by our intrinsic motivational drivers. Those who have external locus of control believe that whatever good or bad happens to them is due to their fate, luck, or by pure simple chance. It is a kind of a fatalistic and deterministic attitude that attributes success or failure to external factors. In India, we have millions of people who fervently believe in the God, and we have many gods, 33 million to be precise, that they worship, or in the holy men who again abound by thousands. No doubt, leasing their fate to external agents provides them a temporary relief and gets rid of any guilt or responsibility. It also makes them extremely dependent and helpless in changing the course of events. On the contrary, those who possess internal locus of control believe that whatever good or bad happens to them is a direct result of their actions and they alone are responsible for it. Therefore, when there is a failure, it is followed by intense reflection, introspection, and corrective action. While in the case of people with external locus, there is shifting of blames, recrimination, and at times even rationalization. The locus of control has the potential of affecting our self esteem and self efficacy. While in some individuals it stirs up the desire to win over the situation, in many it can create a feeling of despondency, doom, and gloom. History has demonstrated that some groups or even countries, in times of great adversities, develop internal locus of control which enables them to redesign their future. During the Second World War, when the American General Douglas MacArthur landed in Japan and made Emperor Hirohito look like an ordinary mortal and not as a descendant of God, as most Japanese believed, the self-esteem and the self-efficacy of Japan was brutally, ruthlessly crushed. But out of that defeat, a firm desire to stand on their own feet and redesign the collective destiny and future took shape. And what is the result? The result is a prosperous, industrially giant Japan in the post-war world. Another example could be of the Jews during the Holocaust in Europe. A once prosperous ethnic group was almost massacred, and few of those survived created Israel, which, as we know now, is a leader in many disciplines. The conclusion is when the very existence is threatened, few can withstand and come out of that in a sterling manner. What's the difference? It is the ability and belief that we can redesign our destiny. But quite often, this truth is forgotten that our belief in ourselves is the guiding beacon for us to march ahead. The third example that comes to my mind, which I have seen, is of Rwanda, which witnessed the war among two tribal groups, resulting in the genocide of about 800,000 tribal people in 1994. Despite such a gory holocaust, the resilience of the country led by Paul Kagame pulled up, and today in 2020, Rwanda is ahead on several economic indicators as per the World Bank report. We need to grasp this fundamental axiom to become effective in the new normal of pandemic of COVID-19. Let me touch upon the issue of resilience during the new normal. I'm sure in 2019, no one expected that our world will be upside down in a couple of months. Schools closed, offices closed, factories shut down, migrant labor walking on foot to their hometowns in desperation. At any one point in time, when one switches on the TV, the only news is about COVID fatalities. Almost everyone knows about someone contracting COVID and dead. It is not only the metro men who are affected, the housewives, the children, the daily wagers have all been completely bewildered with this phenomenon. The poor farmers are the worst sufferers. Supply chain and logistics disruption, lack of finance, climate change, health, and goes on and on. Despite such unprecedented environment, we see some facing the situation stoically, while many are getting adversely impacted. What could be the reason? The answer lies in the presence or absence of resilience in us. So what is resilience? Someone has very aptly put it by saying that resilience is a muscle, flex it enough and it will take less effort to get over emotional punches each time. It is like trying to rebuild a ship which is in the middle of the ocean with choppy waters. As I mentioned earlier, with a firm internal locus of control, we can view each impediment not as a permanent feature, but a transient one that shall pass. It is opposed to brooding and getting resigned to fate. It is this mindset that will help us to tide over and bounce back with renewed grit and vigor. The constellation of resilience has many sub-planets circling it. What are they? They are flexibility, positive frame of mind, optimism, good interpersonal relations, non-judgmental attitude, and self-reflection. Now the question is, how do we develop internal locus of control? We need to reflect on the choices that are available to us rather than giving it up to fate or destiny. We should focus on those elements that we can control and stop worrying about things that are beyond our reach. A realistic analysis is helpful. In an interdependent world, we must provide and seek support. There is no shame in that. A networking of like-minded people boosts our self-esteem. We should take responsibility for everything that happens in our life, good or bad. Doing so helps you to shift your perspective from a victim mentality to a more proactive, positive one. When you take responsibility for an outcome, it naturally leads you to think about what you could have done that may have resulted in a more favorable result. Once you're done that, you can decide to do something different next time. If your new idea does not work either, that's okay if you take responsibility and think about what you can do differently the next time. By taking this approach, you build several skills at once and will help you in other areas of your life. Being proactive, taking responsibility and problem solving, and so on. Here are a few concrete measures that we can take which will help improve our resilience. Start relating afresh with family, friends, and colleagues with an open mind, without any agenda. Talk to each one of them and share your feelings, which you always were hesitant to talk about or were very shy to express. Appreciate that people have survived world wars, plague, economic depression, 11/9 in US, 26/11 in India, tsunami in December 2004, Ebola of 2014 in Africa. So this gloomy period shall also be left behind soon. Regular physical activity like running, jogging helps improve metabolism. Learning to stay calm by doing yoga or breathing exercise or meditation certainly helps. Calm mind is necessary for logical thinking. So staying calm without getting unduly hassled always helps. I would conclude by saying that having internal locus of control not only improves our resilience, but it also has a positive psychosomatic effect on us. It is more important to know what kind of a person has got the disease than what kind of disease the person has. Just reflect upon this statement. Those with good resilience get over the symptoms of COVID effortlessly than those who brood and worry about its effect. Rigidity and resilience are on the continuous scale. It is our choice to decide which option to choose. That is the key for survival and growth. So my message to the frogs and the fleas residing inside us is we should jump out of the steaming pot and push the lid of the jar and enjoy the freedom. I talked about a thermal imaging like device to peep into our mind. We at EcoDev have developed resilience imaging technique that measures resilience and also provides a way forward for our farmers, housewives, housemaids, daily wagers, migrant workers, return staff as a way forward. Thank you very much.